I do want to ask, I mean, obviously the question of having diverse representation on the stage is not a new one. I think it's gotten more attention in recent years, which is a very good thing. How do you think about that and making sure that you have a balance of not only viewpoint, which the debate itself seems to take care of, but age, race, geography, nationality, and all of the other factors?
Yeah, I think like everybody else, every other institution, we've been evolving and we've accelerated that evolution. In the early days, when you look back to our first couple of years, most of the panels were all men, and we worked very hard to change that. And we also began having more visible representation in terms of people of color, and that's I would say that that's become an important benchmark for us, and it's one that we're striving to address and have been addressing, especially this past year.
I'd like to end by asking you, and this is probably another of those cliche questions, because I know every musician hates to get that. Yeah. You know, what's the favorite song? What song do you not like to play in concert? So I won't ask you what your favorite is, but I will ask you if for whatever reason, a moment more than any other has really stood out to you. And if so, what that is.
That one I can do. So we did a debate back around 2009 where we were debating, as I recall, the topic was whether the Palestine Liberation Organization should be given full standing representation at the United Nations. And we had two opponents who were both Jewish. And as I say, they're opponents, so they were on opposite sides of the issue. And there was really, really bad feeling between the two of them. I don't know that they'd ever met before, but certainly on our stage, it was clear that they disliked each other for their views, and that each was finding the other's argument really, really personally offensive. Not that they were personal attacks, it wasn't at all, but that they found the position that they were taking on the issue truly offensive. And the way that we're set up on stage is there's two desks or tables, and I'm in the middle standing at a podium. So down to one side I have one table, and down to the other side I have another table. Well, they were the two inside debaters. I had one right on my right and one right on my left, and as I said, we're okay in the middle section with people interrupting each other if it's organic, if it's not a tactic to interrupt each other, but if they break in on each other. And things were getting more and more heated between the two of them. And I've always wondered, what would I do if I really totally lost control of a debate? I know that there's a certain point in which I can do nothing. So I haven't had that point come yet, but it came close that night, because the guy sitting to my right started like leaning around the podium in front of me and doing da-da, da-da, and the other guy on the other side was leaning around, and they went ba-da-da, 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 and it got bigger and bigger and bigger and louder and louder and louder, and I was saying, gentlemen, I was doing that's what gentlemen please, but I was doing gentlemen please, hello please, and finally they didn't even hear me. I finally, again, it's channeling the audience is really important. I left my position behind the lectern and I went around to the front of the stage to where facing the audience. And then I turned my back to the audience, so I was facing the full panel of debaters, and I raised my hands above my head, sort of Charlton Heston, 10 Commandments, parting the Red Sea. And I just held my hands up, and it caught both their eyes, and they both stopped talking, and the audience exploded in applause. And I went back to the lectern, and I think I did a very mild, because the point had been made. I didn't want to be too much of a schoolmarm, but I made a very mild, let's not do that anymore. And things went on before. And I remember it because I was really worried that I didn't know what to do. I was really worried that wasn't going to work. I didn't have a next move. And, but I remember that the audience really appreciated having the bullshit stop. Forgive my use of the word, but I'm usually more proper.
We will have to put the explicit language label on our podcast now.
It really is something that I'm learning in these debates, is that as much as the ratings supposedly, well, they do spike for Fox and MSNBC, the more people are arguing with each other and bickering with each other. And the more Twitter is that sort of cesspool of addictive arguing, bickering, spatting, not even arguing, I would call it. As much as I think that that's a real thing, a real dynamic, and really true, in our debates, what I hear from people time and time again is, oh, what a relief. What a relief to have watched 4 people argue tonight. Really tough argument. They really disagree. The one we just did on the Supreme Court, they really disagreed. But they shed light through their disagreement, and they were able to say at the end, to each other, I really enjoyed this conversation. And the audience, our audiences at our events come away with that same thing. I love going to the lobby afterwards, and as people stream out, I just chat with them. How was the debate? And they go, this is amazing. I never, more than once, maybe 3 or 4 times, I've heard somebody say, oh, well, my date dragged me here, debate for our date night, but it was amazing. It was really fantastic. Why? It's just so refreshing. And I learned something, and I changed my mind. I didn't know I could do that. But so I think that information I got from the audience when I raised my hands and they applauded, they wanted that. They wanted them to shut up. And the whole dynamic that we present of just let's listen to each other and see where that gets us is something that goes back to your first question. Are we relevant? Yeah, I think we are, because that's a real thing that we do and we experience.
Thanks for watching this video clip of the Speak Good podcast. If you'd like to hear the complete episode, please check out your favorite podcast directory and subscribe now. Thanks for watching.